And here we go, guys. The map is Antigua Shipyard, and we are down to a ZVZ. And at the bottom of the map on the right side, we do have a very talented player from CheckSix. It is none other than Mystic, and in the upper left part of the map, in the purple, winning a couple games already for his team, representing Karont3 Esports Club, it is none other than Vortex.
All right, so Vortex has taken 3 games in a row, as we mentioned. He's done the bulk of the work right now for Karont3, and don't forget they still have some very good players in the chamber. We saw their manager earlier, who was the one win for CheckSix.
Kind of a rough start for them to begin with, you know, to have to kind of be missing some players for this. But you know, we have to keep in mind too, these teams both did qualify as well. They did the work to get into the tournament. You know,
Vortex was about 2 seconds away from taking gas on 10. Actually, diverted his drone back up to minerals and decided to 10 pool. So interesting decision out of him there.
Interesting. So we'll have to see how that goes. I do actually like the decision to 10 pool. I'm a big fan of 10 pooling in ZVZ. You can do a lot out of it. So we'll have to see how he decides to respond. You know, will it be a 10 pool with gas, or will it just be a 10 pool with Zerglings behind that? It's going to do the double extractor trick to be able to squeeze out, you know, another drone, and from there on out, what will it be? I'm guessing it's probably just going to be drones after this with a little bit of early pressure. The good news for Mystic on the other side here is that he did go for the, I believe, 14 gas, 14 pool.
That's right.
And he should have enough drones and Zerglings shortly thereafterwards to be able to hold off this aggression.
Very true. But our first Zerglings are coming up now for Vortex, so we'll see if he's able to get in there and do some damage. Of course, the spawning pool still 35 seconds away for Mystic, but those links are going to take about that time to get over to the other side of the map. So
yeah, pretty much.
Should be that queen coming up soon. It's actually 8 links coming up now for Vortex, so he wants to try and put on some pretty good pressure.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow, getting gas, canceling it again. So this is a pretty, this is a pretty all-in 10 pool. Wow, usually you don't see a lot of this in ZVZ lately, honestly. A lot of the 10 pools that I've seen lately have been 10 pool with drones behind it, just to kind of put a little bit of pressure on early on. But Mystic is really going for, or Vortex rather, is really going for it in this particular game. And there's the drone.
He was running that drone up there. I didn't know if he was going to drop down a spine crawler.
That's what I was kind of wondering too, because sometimes you have the 10 pool where you pull all your drones with it too.
Right.
You know? And then you go for the really all-in 10 pool. And he does know where his opponent is, so that is a possibility. But here come all the Zerglings.
That's right. Sam Mystic does have 6 links finished. So the 6 links that are in his base right now. We'll see who gets the better engagement. Oh, both players just trying to micro their hearts out. A very nice job by Vortex. And he does keep an additional ling alive there. So has a small advantage in overall ling count. But now that the queen is there, it's going to find it a lot harder to try and get any damage done.
Yeah, Mystic should be perfectly fine. And he's actually going to be in an amazing spot in just a second here, because he's going to have Zergling speed like years before his opponent. Going for the Baneling Nest as well. Oh man, Vortex is actually in huge trouble. This is a reason right here why we don't see this kind of 10 pool very often anymore. Now he's trying to make some drones, but he's going to be behind, man. And even if he does get a few more drones early on, he's going to have to, like we see, have to have his queens sit right there on the ramp, not do a lot of injecting early on. If he moves those queens from the ramp, he's going to risk a big Zergling run by. And yeah, we do see Mystic adding on a few more drones here, but I think very soon we're going to see a lot of Banelings coming out, because a lot of Banelings and Speedlings, because Mystic knows he's in a great spot at the moment.
That's right. So looks like he's just going to keep everything outside of his opponent's base. Figure it's kind of cool to mention as well. I saw in the live report thread on Team Liquid, someone pointed out that Vortex is #1 Grandmaster EU at the moment.
Oh, really?
So
awesome.
His brother Lucifron is number 8, and I think they said Alistor was at number 11.
Sibling rivalry there.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Karont3, man, that would be... I would never let my brother get away with being higher than me on the Grandmaster ladder. That would not stand. It's got to be good motivation.
Yeah, well, these guys certainly teammates. And oh, a nice shot picking off one of the active creep tumors there. So we'll see how Vortex is going to respond to this. Both players are on even workers, but of course there's an entire another base that's finishing up now for Mystic. Good job to keep a couple of defensive banelings back.
Actually, gotta say, I love how Mystic is choosing to do this. We've seen some Zerg players in the past try to just bust their way through, you know, kind of go all in with that.
Yeah.
But Mystic playing it very, very smartly instead, deciding to expand, knowing that he has the advantage in a big way right now. The game is far from over, but Mystic, I think, really playing the start of the game a little bit better.
Nice job. Picks off one more creep tumor as well. Sits back trying to morph in a couple of Banelings. Nope, decides not to. There's a huge horde of Zerglings making their way down. So, well, Vortex is going to find it hard to put on any pressure. There's already a Spine Crawler, 2 Queens, and a bunch of defensive Banelings up, so it's going to be pretty difficult for him to try and get any damage done here, but he's certainly going to test the waters.
Yeah, you do have to be a little bit careful in this situation. Oh, taking out some Zerglings.
That's right.
Nice job there. You do have to be a little bit careful in this situation that you don't overmake drones. A lot of Zerg players fall into that trap where they think they're far ahead.
Right.
Because they are. They do have a legitimate lead. But then, oh, that's not good. But then they overmake drones, and then this happens. So will Mystic be able to defend? Oh, he missed a golden opportunity there with those Banelings, but he does have Spines and Queens, and he's going to be just fine.
That's right. So still comes out in pretty good place there. Looks like Vortex is going to tear off a couple of Zerglings just to try and take out the Banelings, and does get one of them.
Wow.
He's even going to be able to make his way around the back of the Natural as he himself is putting up his own base. Finally,
man, they got
coming
in.
up. Oh boy, and there's not a lot here to defend.
Nope, he's going to probably lose that Queen. Well, actually, there's a few more Zerglings there than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
Losing a couple drones instead, so that could have turned out much worse. I thought that Queen was going to go down for sure, but Mystic able to kind of hold things off very well. In fact, this is actually a really good ZVZ. Both of these guys are playing pretty well.
Oh, but Vortex has a few Banelings off to the right-hand side. It looks like Mystic can see that now.
Yep.
Will he be able to react in time? The Banelings are just popping up and making their way into the mineral line. Not a ton of drones here, but he could get a few kills. Mystic already pulling some stuff off the line. Very nice splitting there. Looks like a couple of drones may fall, but not a whole lot. Oh, wow.
Yeah, these Banelings are not really going to do a whole lot. They're going to singe some drones here, but no kills.
That's
just
right.
reducing them to very low health. And Mystic, or Vortex rather, doesn't have a big group of Zerglings to follow this up with to pick off those injured drones. At the same time, we have a little bit of scouting from Mystic, and overall things have kind of stabilized, but Mystic, because of that early game, still has a bit of a lead. He's getting his +1 missile attacks already. He's going to be able to add on some roaches fairly soon. So we're moving into that kind of more roach-oriented phase of the game. Oh, and I like this too, trying to take that third, but Vortex is there to try to... barely got the drone.
That's right. Tried to turn that into an extractor, unfortunately, but 15 minerals lost there. And looks like another drone is going to try and make its way up and take the third, but of course it was given away. Baneling for 2 Zerglings there, but he does stop any further scouting information or anything like that. So not... In terms of trading a Baneling for 2 Zerglings, was not the worst use I've seen.
Let's take a look at the worker count right now. I'm curious to see where things are at. 44 to 40, so 43 to 40 rather, because of that hatchery. So we're at fairly even economy right now. It looks like Vortex is probably going to be going for Mutalisks, as he has 4 gases right now and no sign of any Roach Warren or anything like that just yet. Mystic is going to have a very strong Roach push, but may be a little bit deficient when it comes to being able to defend the probable Mutalisks from Vortex, unless he decides to play like NSOSA Freaky and just get a ton of infestors, man. Have you seen those games lately?
Yeah.
That was insane. We're talking about GSL Team League matches. Yeah.
Well,
pretty interesting ZVZ from Freaky.
Let's see here now. What's going to pop up? There indeed is the Spire and the third base coming up for Vortex all at the same time. So depending on how many roaches are out there, Vortex could do some very real damage here if Mystic hasn't built up enough to critically start doing some economic damage as well. That Spire, of course, still is very far off, 75 seconds away, and then the build time of the Mutalisks on top of that.
And, no infestation pit right away from Mystic after that lair finish. That's what I was kind of looking for, is if he kind of got a sense of what was going on. I mean, a lot of times you won't see the roaches early on, but still, he's got to be a little bit suspicious. So, yeah, and he's sending that Overseer now. He will be able to probably see that Spire before too long, and he's already getting a few spores, too. So I think he has a pretty good idea of what's going on here, and seeing the Spire is only going to confirm that.
That's right.
Yep, there it is. Oh, he didn't click it.
No, he didn't.
Interesting. But he should be able to guess. Like, he should know that there's Mutalisks on the way.
Yeah, he did start making some Spore Crawlers back at home as well. Oh, 7 HP Overseer! Get away!
Run!
Wow.
Not bad.
Get away.
He did indeed get away.
Impressive.
Very nice. Sees the third base and everything. That was a great scout by Mystic.
Yeah. So we'll see now how Vortex is going to react to that. He's got a few Zerglings making their way out. That's enough roaches there. We'll be able to put an end to those Zerglings' life. But Mystic is pretty well prepared now. He's got Queens up. He's got a fair number of Spore Crawlers in place as well. But Vortex is making 9 mutas and going over to an infestation pit.
I really, really like this. You're seeing this more and more in ZVZ, actually, from a player that goes Mutalisks. They get about 8 to 10 Mutalisks and then immediately go for the infestation pit. The reason being, you get your opponent to... Ooh, nice Baneling hit there. You get your opponent to overcommit to anti-muta defenses, and then you just run them over. Yeah. And some Zerglings doing a bit of scouting here. Looks like he's going to be able to get the Queen, so he's going to get something out of this at least.
Yeah.
Maybe pick off a couple drones as well.
He's certainly going to try. 4 workers have been killed by him in this game, and he's not lost a single one of his own. But unfortunately, the Zerglings are all going to die eventually. Both players on, it was 63 workers to 72 at the moment. Oh, and the Mutilas are just deciding to go after the Overlords for now, which is kind of a cool decision. He is able to pick off a few of those, and you were talking about overcommitting to Muta defenses. That is a lot on the field.
Yeah, especially when you see like 9 Mutas, you're like, oh no, he's going lots of Mutas. I need to build a lot of spores right now.
Yeah.
And then you kind of overdo it a little bit sometimes, and you get in trouble to the big Roach Infestor follow-up. Now, the good news for Mystic, though, is he's got a big force of Roaches here, and there's no way the Mutas are going to be able to take that out.
No, they just don't have the DPS to be able to knock those out before the damage is done. So, unfortunately, for Vortex, it looks like he is going to lose a hatchery here for really not that big of a loss from Mystic. Baneling's hitting and softening up a few of those units. These Roaches will eventually all die. They can't shoot up, but they're going to inflict quite a bit of damage in the meantime.
Oh, yeah, he's doing exactly what he should be doing. He's going to try to probably run right into the natural. Oh, Drone's even defending here, too. He's going to stop and kill those, certainly. But then look at that. It takes so long for Mutas to kill Roaches. Mystic just with the perfect response in a lot of situations here, picking off the Queens. And Burrow, oh, very nice. He's going to be able to regen a lot of health, potentially kill another building or two with these Roaches after they regen, because look at that. Yeah, only 7 Mutas there. Those won't kill those Roaches very quick at all.
No, not really. So Mystic going to continue to swing in now with those Roaches. And is he going to be able to pick off anything else? Looks like he's going after the Queen. The Queen injects one final time with her last gasp of life. There are now an Overseer overhead, so the Burrow's not going to do too much.
Wow, Mystic just doing a ton of damage with this. He is, oh wow, he's even going to be able to kill that. Nice cancel at the very last second from Vortex, but the damage is still done. 144 supply right now to just 80 for Vortex. I think Vortex is going to actually have a very hard time winning this game at this point.
All right, well, we'll see what else is popping out for Vortex at the moment. Just a handful of Infestors, unfortunately, and that's not even enough to really catch up to what his opponent has already made, and add in the DPS from the Hydras, the superior upgrades, moving to 2-2 right now. That is quite a stout force out of Mystic.
Yeah, exactly. Mystic is going to have a very, very strong army. His upgrades are going to be through the roof here. He's going to have 2-2 done before 1-1 is even finished for Vortex, and he's also got Hydras on the way as well. He's in that situation where Hydralisks really work well, and that situation is where you know you have an advantage, and all you really need is the damage. You need that DPS to get in there and kill their army really, really quickly, because even though they have some Infestors and they're going to fungal you a little bit, you're going to be able to just kind of overpower things. So Mystic is kind of free at any time, now that 2-2 is done, to go in and try to go for the killing move here.
I have a question. You know that when you have an upgrade researching at an evolution chamber, for example, and the evolution chamber gets killed, you get the resources back for the upgrade. Now, if you have an Overlord morphing into an Overseer, and it gets picked off as it's morphing, do you get the resources back for the upgrade of trying to get into an Overseer?
I believe you do, yeah, because it's canceled, quote-unquote, to a certain extent. So
gotcha.
I think you do. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe you do. I'm like 99% sure.
Well, here comes the Force of Death, as I will now term it. And we'll see if Vortex has, well, he needs unbelievable luck, really, if we're honest, to be able to take this force out now, as Mystic's just going to try and power his way through. Few Infestors making their way up. They do catch a pretty good fungal on a lot of those. The Mutas are overhead now, but unfortunately the Hydralisks are able to pick those off very quickly. Mutas not really doing all that much damage, and Vortex is kind of at the last gasp of hope here.
Yeah, Infested Terran versus Infested Terran. And Vortex doing a pretty good job defending this. His army was in a great position considering the situation, and he's making an epic show of it, but it just looks like Mystic is going to have a little bit too much here,
Yeah, so Vortex, unfortunately, down by about 100 supply now, and a good run for him. He did win 3 games in a row, but Mystic, quite a good player himself, was able to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he was able to kind of turn things around, and he's given CheckSix another good chance. Looks like this attack is going to be just barely pushed back, but I mean, if you look at this, 4 bases to basically just 1.5, essentially.
That's right.
If you want to look at the mining. Well, I guess then we have to say like 3 to 1.5 or so. And, Mystic getting maybe a little bit too aggressive here.
Yeah, well, Mystic had to run away, unfortunately, with those Infestors, but it doesn't matter. There's the GG. Mystic takes the game back now for CheckSix.